February 23rd, Moscow, Luzhniki Stadium. More than 200,000 Russians are gathered for the concert rally held to celebrate Defenders of the Fatherland Day, a holiday in honor of the Russian military forces and their role in protecting the country. The music is loud, flags wave, and confetti cannons send glitter into the sky. Then, Vladimir Putin steps out, and the crowd roars. He walks up to the spotlight. Cameras track his every move. He greets the people, nods to the front rows, and starts his speech. There are people. Here they are, standing next to me, on my left and my right, whose choice in life is to defend the most sacred and dearest thing that we have, family and the motherland. Today, the mission of those people is to protect him. If we shift our focus off the stage, you can't see them, but 4 invisible walls lock into place. Wall 1, the close protection security. Men in dark coats, earpieces, and unblinking stares. Wall 2, quiet watchers hiding in the crowd pretending to be fans, photographers, or staff. Wall 3, the team securing the perimeter, closed streets, scanned rooftops, and pre-cleared routes. Wall 4, the tech shield. Radio signals, drones, and doors locked by code. If an attacker tried something here, they'd run into every layer in seconds. So how do you build a bubble like that around a single person? And if the bubble cracks, what's the extraction plan to rip them out and vanish? This is a layer-by-layer peel of how Putin's public security is engineered to leave nothing to chance. Layer 1 is the bodyguards, the people closest to the president. Their selection starts at the Federal Protective Service, FSO, one of Russia's most elite and secretive organizations. It formed in 1996 and follows a strict selection process inherited from the USSR and based on the structure of the KGB. The task of this organization is to protect the president, top officials, and key sites. Inside the FSO, we find the small unit that lives within arm's reach of Vladimir Putin, the Presidential Security Service. That's the bubble you see on camera. They don't choose these men randomly. The SBP targets candidates who are young, tall, and clean-cut. They run them through a selection that works like a filter. They must be under 35. They must stand around 180 centimeters or taller so they can see over crowds. Their vision and hearing need to be sharp. No visible tattoos or piercings. No beards. Many come straight from the FSO Academy or other military services and already hold sport ranks in boxing, judo, or wrestling. Then the digging starts. Investigators pull the candidate's entire life apart: school, family, and finances. They check parents, siblings, and spouses. They run polygraphs to flag foreign ties, drugs, gambling, or anything that could turn into leverage. Psychologists look for impulse control and the ability to stay calm when things go sideways. Doctors screen for endurance. You need to sprint, fight, and carry dead weight in a suit. If a candidate fails to check even one of these boxes, he is automatically dropped. Those who pass move on to a more advanced training. They learn to shoot accurately under stress, work with short barrels at arm's length, protect a principal while moving through live fire, and shoot while moving through a crowd. They practice control holds and weapon disarms. They learn first in medical care, like using tourniquets, airway kits, and chest seals, because the first minute is their responsibility, not an ambulance's. They also build etiquette and soft skills, how to guide the press, read a room, and break a handshake quickly without appearing rude. Selection tests loyalty as hard as skill, because a single leak can undo every other security layer. Recruits sit for repeat interviews on ideology and state values. Travel abroad gets restricted. Even family routines can change to prevent leaks or pressure, and they are required to sign strict non-disclosure terms. Breaking those NDAs doesn't end in a quiet firing. It can mean criminal charges, prison time, and sometimes even total vanishing of the traitors. So the system makes it clear from day one that betrayal is not an option. New guys start far out, in perimeter posts, entry screening, or guarding backstage doors. If they prove reliable, they rotate to hall runners and stage edges. From there, the best join the travel team, the ones you see behind Putin on trips and stadium stages. The security team works around the clock, so protection never stops. A normal public appearance follows a fixed, step-by-step plan, where each stage flows into the next, so no one has to improvise or take unnecessary risk. First, an advance team goes ahead and checks everything. They walk the route, spot dangerous corners, test back hallways and elevators, and make a simple map that shows where to stand, where to pause, and where to run if things go wrong. Then the close protection team surrounds the president and forms a moving human wall, with guards placed at the shoulders, front, back, and one extra who fills gaps as needed. Each person knows exactly where to move, what to cover, and when to open space. They use body geometry to leave no gap for danger, and use props like briefcases or umbrellas to block threats if needed. In close crowds, guards may also use realistic decoy arms, prosthetic sleeves that extend from coats or rest on railings, to make it harder for an attacker to tell which body parts are real and where the guard's hands actually are. The goal is visual confusion, which makes reaction time shorter and threats easier to intercept. An attacker may think a guard is clasping both hands in front of him, while in reality, the guard's real arm is under the jacket holding a gun ready. Training drills this into muscle memory, so when someone suddenly lunges, grabs, or causes a loud distraction, the nearest guard reacts instantly, while others slide into position. If you think that's the end of it, you are wrong. That's the first wall, built through hard selection and constant drilling until every man moves like the same set of hands. If it fails, the next layer, inside the crowd, picks up the threat. The next wall is even more paranoid. The second wall hides in plain sight. These are undercover teams seated as supporters, camera operators, sound techs, and even janitors. Their job is to blend, watch, and quietly solve problems before they grow teeth. Before the event, security analysts run a social graph. They scrape public guest lists, press pools, and VIP invites, and notice a name that stands out. If the person appears on a guest list through a last-minute ticket transfer, shows up paired with unusual travel companions, and has a brand new online profile pushing perfect slogans but no real history, that combination triggers a quiet alert, and an undercover team is assigned to keep the person in view. On event day, the individual arrives unusually early, wearing a press lanyard that technically checks out because it was picked up at will call. In the crowd, trained handlers focus on behavior rather than appearance. They notice the person's eyes track security instead of the stage. Their shoulders stay tense, and their feet angle as if ready to move quickly. Their hands are either hidden or resting flat on barriers, and their pacing matches stage movements instead of the music or crowd energy. An undercover posing as a camera operator notices more small inconsistencies. The camera body is legitimate, but the lens doesn't match the shooting distance. The batteries never get changed, and the person keeps drifting toward aisle intersections with clear sightlines. The undercover team signals for a soft check. A staff member, acting as a stage manager, politely asks to recheck credentials and offers a better angle, guiding the person into a media pen where another team quietly scans the bag under the excuse of protecting equipment. At the same time, an undercover fan fills the original spot and watches the seat the person wanted. If the person cooperates, the issue stays low-key and contained. If they resist, the interaction shifts from friendly to firm, and they are calmly escorted to a back area presented as a tech tent where another team takes over. There is no public confrontation, no alarm, and no disruption. The risk is guided away from the center, and the event continues without anyone noticing. While the undercover teams quietly handle the problem inside the venue, the third layer of the security plan is already in motion around the building. Hours earlier, police and security teams lock down the surrounding city blocks so traffic can only move in controlled directions, turning normal streets into funnels that are easy to watch. Officers stop and check every vehicle that gets in the secured area, while barricades and fencing guide foot traffic so crowds move where security expects them to go. Bomb-sniffing dogs sweep entrances, sidewalks, and service areas, and explosive specialists inspect anything abandoned or out of place, so no one inside has to make a risky guess. At the same time, drivers assigned to the president run through routes they memorized in advance: the main route, a backup route, and several alternatives, along with dead ends to avoid if something changes suddenly. Advanced teams scan nearby buildings and notice details most people ignore: windows that open outward, rooftops with fresh scuff marks, ladders that weren't there the day before, and they flag anything that could give someone a clear line of sight. Overwatch teams quietly cover those angles, not just from tall tall rooftops, but from mid-level windows and balconies that line up with walkways and entrances. On selected rooftops, sniper teams take position before Putin's arrival and stay in place until way after his departure from the scene. Each one of them is assigned a fixed perimeter to watch. They focus on hands, windows, rooftops, and movement patterns that don't match the crowd. Their job is not to engage first, but to detect, confirm, and deter threats before they reach the inner layers. The presence of Overwatch also gives close protection teams confidence to move, knowing every exposed angle is already covered. To keep patterns from forming, multiple motorcades wait in different garages, with one leaving early, another leaving later, and others staying put, so no one watching can be sure which movement matters. Escort vehicles manage communications carefully, so hostile signals can't interfere during key moments, while normal radios keep working. Cameras and patrols monitor the outer perimeter, and when a drone, a climbing figure, or an unexpected movement shows up on a screen, nearby officers respond calmly and locally before anyone inside notices. By the time the person inside the venue is guided toward the exit, the streets, buildings, and routes around them are already shaped to move them safely away, making the entire block feel normal to the public, while quietly acting as a protective wall. As all of this unfolds, a fourth layer works quietly in the background, mostly unseen and unheard. Nearby, a small technical team monitors the radio spectrum from a van or a room close to the stage, watching for strange signals like unauthorized drones, fake cell towers, or unusual walkie-talkie traffic. When something spikes, they pinpoint where it comes from and either block it in a very tight area or send a team to check it out, taking care not to disrupt security radios, earpieces, or medical equipment. And separate Wi-Fi networks keep press, production crews, and security isolated so a hacked device can't spread trouble. Quiet health safeguards sit ready too. Air systems use protected intake zones. Food and water follow strict tracking rules, so nothing can be tampered with unnoticed. And a small medical team waits offstage with protective gear and antidotes they may need. All of this supports the final question security always plans for. What if something still goes wrong? If any layer fails, the next one buys time. A short code word sets everything in motion. Guards tighten around the protected person. A shield snaps open. A vehicle door is already waiting, and the driver already knows which route to take. Back at Luzhniki, the event still looks smooth and normal. Lights, music, and applause. But behind the scenes, the system is doing its real job, stacking layers so no single failure matters, reducing risk as close to zero as possible, and making danger vanish quietly while the cameras keep rolling. All these layers of security and backup plans connect to one rumor that never really goes away, the idea that Putin sometimes uses a body double. Over the years, people have noticed differences in height, facial features, ear shape, walking style, or public behavior of Vladimir Putin in different appearances. The talk got louder after 2022, during the war in Ukraine, when Ukrainian media and officials began openly questioning whether the same man showed up at every public appearance. In August 2022, Ukraine's military intelligence chief even went on TV and pointed to pictures of Putin's ears side by side, saying ear shapes shouldn't change while his look different from one appearance to the next. In January 2023, the rumor became a meme on the internet. During a visit to Moscow State University, photos from the event went viral. People started claiming that something was off with the way Putin looked. He was different from usual and appeared to be wearing lifts inside his shoes to make him seem taller. Some took that as proof, while others just shrugged and called it classic conspiracy theory. The Kremlin has repeatedly denied all of it, calling it a nonsense rumor with no proof. Still, the idea persists. Whether true or not, nobody can confirm or deny the story completely, because it fits how Putin's security already works, using deception and uncertainty and leaving no trace behind. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.